Dear students, now I am going to tell you about the role of lipids in the fluidity of membrane. So far you have studied the structure of the plasma membrane, chemical composition, molecular organization, that is a fluid mosaic model what you see here. So membrane is a beautiful collage of proteins and other molecules embedded in the fluid matrix of phospholipid bilayer. So it is the fluid matrix. What is the phospholipid bilayer? In that you will find the proteins are inserted or embedded. So this is the beautiful fluid mosaic model what we have studied in the last video. So how this phospholipid maintains its fluidity? What are the factors involved in the maintenance of the membrane fluidity, and how the lipids play a role in the maintenance of the fluidity and how it is regulated, and all this we are going to study in this video. So the fundamental structure of the membrane is the phospholipid bilayer, you know that. So phospholipid bilayer, which forms a stable barrier between two aqueous compartments, extracellular and the lumen of the cell. So the aqueous compartments, this acts as a barrier. The fluidity of the cell membrane is important for membrane function and has to be maintained within the certain limit. So it is the fluidity of the membrane is of the utmost important. So to perform all the functions of the membrane, so this fluidity play a major role. So fluidity depends on its phospholipid composition and on the nature of hydrocarbon tails. So the closer and more regular packing of the tails, the more viscous and less fluidity you will find. So you will find this tail, what is the fatty acid tail. So you will find two types. One is straight, this is a saturated fatty acids, and this is unsaturated fatty acids. It will bend or twist like, or this is called the kink of hydrophobic tail. So you will find these the packing of this fatty acid or the phospholipid play a major role in the fluidity and also the viscous nature of the membrane. So as I said earlier, so the membrane where you will find the phospholipids are in the form of the fluid where the proteins are inserted, and it is like the iceberg floating on the water. In the similar fashion you have to imagine. So this you will find this is the phospholipid bilayer. You will find this phospholipid molecular model where you can see the phosphate head, glycerol neck and fatty acid tail. This fatty acid tail may be saturated fatty acids or unsaturated fatty acids, or one saturated and one unsaturated fatty acids, like that. So the membrane is fluid but also fairly rigid. So the fluidity is why this fluidity should be maintained. So this is very important for many reasons. So the fluidity allows membrane proteins rapidly in the plane of bilayer. So that you will able to see in this animation. So the proteins, they are moving, you can see rapidly, because of this the fluidity of the phospholipids or membrane lipids. So the fluidity of the membrane allows the proteins move rapidly in the plane of bilayer. It permits membrane lipids and proteins to diffuse from the site where they are inserted into the bilayer after their synthesis. You know that these proteins are synthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum or else in the ribosomes. Then they are they are transported, or else they'll be moved. The membranes are continuous one. So the plasma membrane is continued as inside the cytoplasm as endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, like that you can see. So these membranes, the continuity of the membrane, that means it is the fluid membrane. So whatever the molecules from the site of synthesis, the proteins, so what they are inserted, they will take position in the plasma membrane because of this the fluid nature. You will see here how they are moving. So they can move and they occupy their position. So this fluidity enables membranes to fuse with one another and mix their molecules. So you can see the membranes, you will find it is a dynamic structure. There are a lot of the membrane take part actively in the process of endocytosis, exocytosis, pinocytosis, phagocytosis. All these where you will find the membrane will fuse with the secretory vesicles and they release outside, or else they will engulf the material from outside in the form of phagosome. So this is all this where because of their fluidity they can do all this. Sorry. Fluidity ensures the membrane molecules are distributed evenly between daughter cell when cell divides. This also during mitosis and meiosis, how exactly at the end of the anaphase and telophase there is a cleavage furrow you have studied, and then the two cells get the daughter cells resulted. So the cytokinesis process, so this is all because of this fluidity that enables to the cell divide properly into two daughter cells. So this in the membrane, two major properties of hydrocarbon tails affect the how tightly they pack in the bilayer. The fluidity is based on this hydrocarbon tail and how tightly they pack in the bilayer. So the hydrocarbon tail you will find here, this is the one tail, this is the another tail. So this is unsaturated, and because of there is you will find a double bond here. So that's why it is it forms a kink or else a twist you will find in this. So the length of the tail, there is a short tails have a tendency to increase the fluidity. If the tail is shorter, this tail is about 14 to 24 carbon length. So this you can see the shorter the tail, the membrane is more fluid in nature. The longer the phospholipid tails, the more interaction between the tails and the less fluid the membrane will be. So this is how the length of the tail is also affects the fluidity of the membrane. Then degree of saturation of the tail. So you will this is the saturated fatty acid, unsaturated. So the degree of unsaturation of the tail, that also affects the fluidity. Lipid bilayer that contain large proportion of unsaturated hydrocarbon tails are more fluid than those with the lower proportion. If the membrane with more, you will able to see here the membrane they have the more you will find unsaturated fatty acids, then they are more liquid or more fluid in nature when compared to the presence of saturated fatty acids. If saturated fatty acids are compressed by decreasing temperature, they press on each other, making a dense and fairly rigid membrane. If this is the saturated fatty acid, so what happens, you can see they actually compress or they shortens, and thereby you can see they compress it and they will become more viscous, or it is more rigid. If unsaturated fatty acids are, they cannot compress it because they have a kink. You can see there is a kink or a twist. There is a double bond here. It is not allowing to compress, it will compress, the saturated will be compressed, but this cannot because of this double bond. So what it will push the adjacent. So you will able to see here, it to push the adjacent fatty acid and molecules away, which helps to maintain fluidity in the membrane. So that's why the ratio of saturated and unsaturated fatty acids determines the fluidity in the membrane at cold temperatures. So it is the ratio between saturated and unsaturated fatty acids that decides the fluidity of the membrane. At cooler temperature, the straight tails of saturated fatty acids can pack tightly together, making a dense and fairly rigid membrane. You know that how exactly the saturated fats in your home, for example the ghee or the coconut oil. So in a cooler temperature they solidifies because they are saturated fats. Similarly, saturated fatty acids are, if they are more, so in cooler temperature these they pack tightly and you can see they will become more dense. For example, in your home the refined oil, it is having polyunsaturated fatty acids. In cooler temperature, when coconut oil solidified, but this unsaturated fatty acid rich oil not going to become solidified. The same principle here also. So phospholipid with unsaturated fatty acid tails cannot pack together as tightly because of the bent structure you have studied. There is a bent structure or kink, there is a twist because of a double bond, that. So because of this, the membrane containing unsaturated phospholipids will stay fluid at lower temperature than a membrane made out of saturated one. In animal cell, membrane fluidity is modulated by the cholesterol. They fill the space left by the kinks of the unsaturated hydrocarbon tail. When unsaturated hydrocarbon tail, it forms a, you will see this is the phosphate head and you can see the two tail. This is the one, this is occupies some space, no. So this occupied by the cholesterol, you will see that in this between. So this is how in the animal cells membrane fluidity is modulated by the cholesterol. They fill the space left by the kinks of the unsaturated hydrocarbons, what you see in the picture. At lower temperature, cholesterol increases the fluidity by keeping phospholipids from packing tightly together, while at higher temperature it reduces the fluidity. So high temperature it reduces the fluidity, cholesterol maintains. So it is a regulating during colder temperature, keeping the more fluid. At higher temperature try to reduce the fluidity. So cholesterol maintains a functional healthy membrane fluidity. So there is a, you can see the cholesterol disrupt the close packing of the phospholipids, thereby it control the fluidity, okay, and also it reduces the permeability to certain solutes from the across the membrane. So you will able to see here there is a double bond you will find in the unsaturated fatty acid. This is saturated fatty acid. Most cell membranes contain a mixture of phospholipids, some with the two saturated tails and other you will find some regions of the membrane you can see the saturated fatty acids, and some you will find the saturated, some unsaturated. So many organisms such as fishes can adjust physiologically to cold environment by changing the proportion of unsaturated fatty acids in their membranes. So depending on the temperature, in the case of aquatic animals like fishes, they change the composition, the amount, the composition of saturated and unsaturated fatty acid depending on the external temperature. Hence, fluidity of cell membranes must be maintained within a certain range for the cell to function properly. So this is the importance of the fluidity of the membrane. So this the temperature increases phospholipid bilayer fluidity. When the temperature rises, the bilayer become more fluid because you will find, you can see the fluidity increases. At lower temperature, phospholipids in the bilayer do not have as much kinetic energy and they cluster together more closely, increasing intermolecular interactions and decreasing the membrane fluidity. At higher temperatures, the opposite process occurs. Phospholipids have enough kinetic energy to overcome the intermolecular forces holding the membrane together, which increases the membrane fluidity. At low temperatures, phospholipids tend to cluster together, but the sterols in the phospholipid bilayer fill in between the phospholipids, disrupting their intermolecular interactions. You can make out here. So, intermolecular interactions and increasing the fluidity. At higher temperature, phospholipids are further apart. In the case, cholesterol in the membrane has the opposite effect and pulls the phospholipids together and thereby increasing the intermolecular force and decreasing the fluidity. So, this cholesterol having a opposite reactions depending on the temperature. So, it is thereby regulate the fluidity of the membrane. So, this is about the role of lipids in maintaining the membrane fluidity. So, this lipid will result. So, you will find there is a more packing if the more saturated fatty acids. If there is a unsaturated fatty acids, you can see there is you will find they are fluid in nature. So, this the ratio of saturated fatty acid and unsaturated fatty acid, that is also play a major role in fluidity. Another is the cholesterol that helps to disrupt the hydrophobic interaction of the fatty acid chain, thereby keeping fluidity. So, this is the graph. It shows as the temperature increases, you will find there is a, you can see the membrane moving towards it is the fluidity increases. So, this is about the role of lipids in the membrane fluidity or fluidity of the membrane. So, just we will see some important functions of the plasma membranes. So, plasma membrane protects intracellular components from the extracellular environment. You know that it is a barrier. So, it protects the internal cellular organelles from the changes in the external extracellular medium. The plasma membrane mediates cellular process by regulating the materials that enter and exit. So, it check or it regulate, or it is a selectively permeable membrane, regulate the molecules, the transportation of the molecules. The plasma membrane carries markers that allow cells to recognize one another and can transmit signals to other cells via receptors. So, it is in the you can see the cell to cell communications. Carbohydrates, you will see in this, you can see this is a glycoprotein. The carbohydrate from a specialized site of the cell surface allow the cells to recognize similar cell, or it recognize this recognition function is very important to cell, as it allows the immune system to differentiate between body cells, that is called self, and foreign cells, that is called non-self. Similar type of glycoprotein and glycolipids are found in the surface of the viruses and may change frequently, preventing the immune cells from recognizing and attacking them. So, this is what you can see how exactly you have studied the immune cell able to recognize the self from non-self, you have studied in immunology. The animal cell is made up of several structural organelles enclosed in the plasma membrane that enables it to function properly, eliciting mechanism that benefit the animal. So, membrane and cellular transport. You know that the membrane, it is play a major role in the transport of the molecules or the substances across the membrane. It is a selectively permeable membrane. So, it is either passive movement occurring without the input of cellular energy, or else active transport requires to cell to expand energy. The cell employs number of transport mechanisms that involve biological membranes, passive osmosis, so simple diffusion, then facilitated diffusion, then you can see the active transport. So this passive osmosis, diffusion, transport of gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide and other smaller molecules. Then transmembrane protein channels that they are called carrier molecules or transporters, transport some organic molecules. You will see that these are the carrier molecules or transporters. They are assisting in they facilitate the diffusion of some molecules. Then you can see there is active transport. You can see utilizing the energy from the ATP, the molecule will be transported against the concentration gradient. Diffusion, facilitative diffusion along the concentration gradient. Then endocytosis, exocytosis, all these you will find the membrane play a major, plasma membrane play a major role in engulfing the materials from the outside and also releasing the enzymes, hormones, secretory molecules outside through the exocytosis. So this plasma membrane, it is play a major role in cellular signaling, transmitting signals through complex proteins. These proteins can be receptors. They work as a receivers of extracellular inputs, or they are activators of intracellular processes. Marker makes cells to recognize each other. So several functions of this cell signaling you will find the plasma membrane the plasma membrane proteins, they play a major role. Membrane receptors provide extracellular attachment sites for hormones, growth factors. So they trigger the intracellular responses. So this is how the hormones or else growth factors, so they trigger the intracellular signaling process. So this is where you can see the receptors present on the membranes, they play a major role. Some viruses like HIV can hijack these receptors to gain entry into the cells, and so several such viral infections because of that. Membrane markers allow cells to recognize one another, which is vital for cellular signaling process, play a role in organogenesis. This is how organogenesis during the developmental process you can see. So the differentiation of this by the stimulation by the growth, the factors, growth factors or else differentiation factors, they are produced by the surrounding cells. So how the development process and all you will study in the next semester in detail. So this is how exactly the antigenic molecules in the RBC membranes, they are glycoproteins, antigen A, B and all this. So these are the how cellular signaling and antigenic stimulation, the plasma membrane play a major role. Here you will find how exactly this is the membrane receptor. So this is the signal molecule. This may be any hormone. If it is a growth hormone, then you will find how exactly the transduction, signal transduction, and the response will be elicited. So this is how a hormones or a growth factor elicit response through cell signaling, and it is received on the surface of the cells, the membrane receptors. So these are all there are many more functions. So these are just I have given a brief brief introduction to the functions of the plasma membrane. Thank you.